كفار أثيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I would like to begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us a chance to gather in this beautiful hall for the Islamic Economics and Finance Conference. It is my honor to welcome our keynote address speakers, Dr. Mohamed-Wali and Dr. Mustafa Umar. Representing the Kulliyah of Economics and Management Sciences, Dr. Nizam. And last but not least, all the participants from across the Muslim world and our presenters. This conference is organized by the International Bureau of Economics and Management Sciences Society in conjunction with the Bachelor of Economics Council, EFES. In addition, I would like to thank WAMI for sponsoring this event. Throughout a few past decades, the world economy has witnessed many ups and downs. It has been undergoing major crises from the Great Depression of 1929 to the financial market collapse in 2008. This has led the eyes of many economists across the world to look into and consider the economic models that were developed by our Islamic economists. Ever since then, Islamic economists have utilized the opportunity to lead many economies aiming to fix the holes that were left behind the conventional system at many times.
A professor of IIUM's alumni and later from the University of North Texas, Professor Dr. Mira focuses on some of the world's most important and frequently discussed areas such as financial markets, investment analysis, and much more. A member of the Malaysian Finance Association and also of the Islamic Foundation in the UK. He has taken part in worldwide conferences and has many publications to his name. Ladies and gentlemen, I cordially invite Professor Dr. Ahmad Kamil Maidin Mira to the lectern to deliver his keynote speech.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone. So you see, I would like to first of all congratulate the organizers, particularly Mr. Iman and her group, for organizing this wonderful conference, right? The student conference, and then most of you will be presenting, some of you will be presenting, I guess, until the end of the day. And at the end, there will be some best paper awards and so on, right? So I would like to congratulate you. And you have actually identified some of the most important areas in Islamic finance. I will talk about those in a moment. You know, my favorite is on the policies of fiat money. So today, I'm not going to tell the same story that I've been telling. How many of you, I'm sure some of you might have already listened to me before, right? So I'm not going to tell the same story for this time. But I will try to tell you that this fiat money is the missing link in Islamic finance. It is the last link that you need to put in order for us to achieve the objective of article, linking the monetary to those effects. You can go there and you can arrange for them. Then also the occurring of recession. The reason basically I've said why fiat money causes recession is that today most of the money is introduced in the form of debt, right? Utang, yeah? So when it is introduced in the form of debt, it grows exponentially. But today what I would like to talk to you is this. I'm going to talk about Malaysia, right? On Malaysia, I'm going to show you how the fiat money was used to plunder the wealth of the Malays. Alright? And it has actually a similar story in Indonesia and other places. Alright? So again, yeah. So this is basically, I'm going to political economics. Fiat money and political economics. Alright? Fiat money is the degradation of the economy of the Malays. Alright? Now why do I choose Malaysia? I'll come to that. Huh? Is it Malaysia? Huh? Is it beautiful? Nice, huh? Isn't it? I call that land of milk and honey. Alexander the Great, he called India the land of milk and honey. You know, when he was conquering the places, so at that time, he didn't want to conquer the Arabs. He wanted India. He said, India is the land of milk and honey. We call Malaysia the land of milk and honey. It's a wealthy, very wealthy nation. A very wealthy nation, this country. All right? But we need to preserve it. We need to preserve that. So you see, I will talk about it in a moment. To show you the principles, how it was done, the plundering, you need to understand these three principles. Fiat money, the exponential growth of fiat money and debt, and financial inclusion. Monetary system, then the amount of things they will enjoy will be very less in the economy. So financial inclusion is necessary for us to improve the economic well-being of people. You make money available for people to do exchange. So about a week ago, our central bank, they had a conference called Alliance for Financial Inclusion. Anyone aware of that? Our Bank Negara, you know, they did a conference. It's called for Alliance for Financial Inclusion. The Alliance for Financial Inclusion is a body that is headquartered in Bangkok, financed by Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates Foundation, to improve the financial inclusion of the poorer sections of economy, people in the world. All right. So for example, if you notice in any country, the urban area is generally more well developed. People are better off than the rural area, right? The reason is the people in urban area, they generally get a better financial inclusion compared to people in the rural area. They get less money. Malaysia-PESA, M-PESA. You can run a search word on Google. It uses the mobile phone. Uses mobile phone, prepaid amounts in your mobile phone as money. So if I go and see, you're selling burger, how much? You say 5 ringgit. I'll ask, okay, what's your code? What's your code? You say your code. I'll key in my handphone code and I can transfer 5 ringgit of airtime to him. And then I can get the burger. So people are transferring the airtime between them as money, and the economic well-being of the people are rising in rural areas and rural. You see? And the government is supporting that. You know why? Because the people's well-being is being improved, and the government is also collecting more taxes. Right? And when the child or when the son or daughter works in the city, wants to send money to the parents who live in the rural area, just a SMS only. The cost of transferring money is the cost of an SMS. So you don't have to go to Western Union and queue up and so on. See that? So it's an interesting concept in money, because I always thought the measure of, the measure of value in Islam should be something real. But the M-PESA proved to me it can also be a unit of service. There's an interesting concept. So that's financial inclusion. If you understand these three, now you see in Malaysia, you can see, just to show you the exponential growth of money introduced in the form of the broad money. You see the exponential growth. The second one, money grows exponentially almost in any country. This is the data for Malaysia. I just mentioned that the true money, the measure of value in Islamic economic system, got to be real. Islamic system is a real economic system. It is money also got to be real. So all our Sharia principles I always mention, Muamalat and others, they're all based on gold and silver as the standard. They are the hikmah. There's a hikmah behind it, which is somehow lost along the way in our Islamic history. This is what I'm going to show you, how we are almost going to lose the country because we did not look into this aspect. So what happened in 1786, the British was already here. Of course, they were, before that the Portuguese was there, the Dutch was here. Even when the English came also, we were still using the real money until the Strait Settlement was established in Penang, the British Strait Settlement in 1786. Penang lah. Islamic contracts to projects that were abandoned. Very serious. So we are specifically meeting to solve that problem together with the central bankers, the lawyers, the ministry and so on. You see, so I told them, look, if it is a problem, we will come and say it's a problem. If you are doing something right, we will say you are doing it right from our opinion. We are not judgmental. All right. So those are a few things, brothers. But one of the thing is we need to revive the zakat and wakaf. The wakaf is very, very important. I have no time because I can talk a lot of this thing. That was the first institution that was destroyed when the caliphate collapsed. There's a reason for that. So today is now the last one to come up. So I see a lot of goodness in that. Islam is rising back when I see wakaf is one of the major subjects of research nowadays. In fact, I think after this, the first talk also going to be on wakaf, I think, right? And then and also in any economic planning, always go for education. No education, don't talk about economic development. All I say, the monetary system, everything is secondary. It is number 2. Number 1 is education, especially skills and religion, skill building, the polytechnics and so on. So, but normally I put number 5, but whenever I talk about economic development, I'll take number 5 to become number 1. Is education. Okay. With that, I will stop here because no time. So thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Economics and finance, I believe you need at least to have a small input to that. So my talk would definitely center in these areas of looking at the prospect and what you could do. And I'll share with you some of my views. There is one professor at large in New York. He's called Professor Ali Mazrui, and I'm sure many of you must have heard about him. He's a professor in political science. Once he made a very interesting statement. He says that wherever you go and there are Muslims and somehow there are deserts, you find oil. And apparently it also seems that wherever you have huge concentration of Muslim population, you discover these resources. Then he raises the questions and says, is oil a curse or a blessing? I think that was very good. So what he meant was, can Muslims turn oil into a blessing? Or, may Allah help, they can also turn oil into a curse. He says, Wallahi, all the time I go to sleep, I'm worried that there's one member of the Ummah coming somewhere from far end of the world towards Shaybani, hoping to get the solution of his question with Shaybani. And I'm afraid if I don't have an answer to that question. And that's the spirit. Meaning, we should be worried that if somebody comes and says, where is the solution? And we don't have the answer to that question. So this is very important. Now, what are the areas which I think we need to look into when we talk about Islamic economics and finance? Because these two areas are actually complementary. They're complementary. I think one of the important areas we look at is, and it's a very big area, is the maqasid, objectives. Because at the moment, I think a lot of confusion problem comes when we cannot align our activities with the maqasid. And we cannot measure our performance based on maqasid. In other words, in a lot of areas you find there's a mismatch between what is supposed to be the maqasid objectives and the objectives that we put forward for Islamic economics and finance. So these areas requires a lot of research from you, young scholars. What is it that we should do? What should be the ideal objectives of Islamic banking and finance? Now the other interesting area, and which you find it missing even in a lot of conference, is theorization. Today, if you look at the activities of Islamic banking and finance, the activities are actually at the other end of Qaeda, is in Paris. But the theory is still in Kuala Lumpur. The activities is moving so fast. Then the question is, what is the theory driving Islamic banking and finance, or economics for that matter? So we need to have a genuine concern into coming up with theories of pricing, for example. Do we really have a theory of pricing? I remember in our university we had some few students, senior students coming from Iran, and we're teaching economics at a graduate level. And one of the students asked a question and said, "Sir," and I like that question. He said, in conventional economics, the ISLM model, we have the interest rate that ties all the markets together. And this also, by the way, you have for the conventional finance. Interest rate will tie the capital market, will tie the product market, will tie the input market. All of them are tied by the interest rate. Meaning, you want to buy the house today, the main determinant is the interest rate. You want to provide inputs, interest rate. You want to look at things in the capital market, interest rate. Then he says, but for Islamic economics and finance, what is the alternative? If we remove interest rate, what is it that will tie all this market together? I think it was a beautiful question. Then I told him, I said, you see, for Islamic economics and finance, we don't need to tie those markets. In fact, it's in our favor if all these markets operate independently with all their own benchmarks. So what I'm trying to say, tell here is, if you want to cope up and tie all the markets together, then there must be a way to look at that. So theory is very important. Now the other second important area which I think we should look into is the present debt structure. Now, unless we remove the debt structure from our finance system, you can never get rid of riba. Riba and debt structure are two faces of the same coin. And the entire system is still running on a debt structure. So there must be a way, slowly by slowly, that we try to get rid of this debt structure. And thirdly, which is very important, is the regulatory framework. Now, interestingly, 10 years ago, most of the financial markets, most of the economies were regulated. Regulated means you control the behavior of the players. Your stock market is disciplined, another market is disciplined. But after that, there was a big call for liberalize the market, deregulate the market, deregulate.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Today I'm talking about the importance of waqf, and when I choosing waqf for my research paper on my master degree, I had to understand that it's an important component that it's actually missing in the current Islamic financial system. Waqf have been actually very important in the Islamic civilization for many, many years, raising the life comfort of the poor and widening the middle class, providing a social and political stability, and also reinforce the stability which is necessary for economic development. You can see the situation in the Arab countries now. Now the Arab Spring, the main reason that it's happening, it's more on the political. It's because of the socio-economic problems that the Arab faces in.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I to all of you. Right, my name is actually Wonder Sabiha Nasabua, okay, and my partner is mohamed-wali. Review process. One of it is about the legal issues. Zulkifli mentioned in his article saying that the entire Waqf asset will be regulated and managed under different laws and regulation within the purview of State Islamic Religious Council as stated in Federal Constitution in List 2 in 9th Schedule. Okay, they say that all Waqf assets will be governed under State Islamic Religious Council, in Malay Majlis Agama Islam, Negeri.
Specifically in several states. Another issue is regarding to the income derived from the wakaf asset. Wakaf asset basically is a land wakaf and the building constructed under that wakaf land. And this is the source from Majlis Agama Islam Selangor. They gain the income, they gain the rental income from the Bazar Rakyat, rental income from the land wakaf at Sungai Ramakajang, and also land wakaf for Jalan Teluk Kapas, Rantau Panjang, Klang, and they distribute this rental income to several mosques in Selangor.
And financing so that it can avoid the mismatch of the product. And there is we need a commodity market like Bursa Sukasila that we have, that need to be organized as a role model that your product can be developed on that. Finally, I would like to end with the supervisory framework. In Surah Imran, verse number 104, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said us that there arises out of you a group of people inviting to all that is good, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong. It is they who are the successful. So it is already there that regulator is a must. And for Islamic finance industry, regulator has no alternative. And it's a very good example that Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara, when the country is now leading in the Islamic finance.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That's all. I'd like to thank my grateful for organizer of this conference for accepting my paper in very short period, 1 week before the conference. Thank you very much for accepting. Without further delay, I'm going to the presentation.
Set of urban is permissible in Islamic law. So we compare this option to set of urban to this option. So since set of urban is permissible in Islamic law, it is permissible for the contracting party to sell their right in the stock market. And another will say no, it's not permissible because even set of urban is concluding on tangible asset, but set of option is not complete on tangible asset. We go, yes, sir, because I think data is not suitable for me. On some tangible asset. For example, this building, we issue sukuk on it, and we give certificate to every participant in the investment. This certificate shows that that person, he has right of ownership on the building.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As MC has stated just now that I am here is representing my friend. My name is mohamed-wali and I'm here to deliver to you a presentation of my friend's paper which is entitled Co-integration and Causality Test for Islamic and Composite Indices in Malaysia. Leading countries in the term of Islamic banking and financial market or institution in the world. The Malaysia Islamic stock market itself has been significantly growing, especially since the establishment of Kuala Lumpur Sharia Index in 1999. And currently in Malaysia there are around 900 Sharia compliant securities and around 200 of Islamic unit trust fund. The method that commonly used for testing the stationery, which are augmented Dickey-Fuller or ADF test, and then Philip-Heron or PP test, and KPSS test. And according to this result, though the exception of the KPSS test, it can be concluded that all the variables used in this study are stationary in its first difference. As you can see from the star above the value. After we get the result from the stationary test, we can proceed to the co-integration test result. And the results show that at leg 1, based on the EKG information criteria selection of the leg optimum, at leg 1, there are no co-integration between the Sharia index and composite index. What does this mean? It means that the market of the the stock market in Malaysia is efficient because the error movement of one index cannot predict the movement of other index. This means of the non-existence of the co-integration between the Sharia index and the composite index.
And a very good evening to everyone, particularly the VIPs, fellow presenters, and last but not the least, the audiences. So today we are coming from University of Malaya, undergraduate students that has been introduced by our MC for today. I am Ganeshwaran Khanna, and my another partner would be Muhammad Amar, and together we would be presenting on Islamic economy as a remedy to world economic recessions. So without wasting any time further, we shall move on to the introduction. But before moving on to the introduction, I would like to kickstart our presentation by highlighting there would be 3 components, as in our research paper itself, and in our presentation itself, there would be 3 components, that is introduction, basically, and soon after that we'll be having loopholes. The first one is loopholes in the conventional economy that leads to economic recession. The second one is concepts of Islamic economy that is directly in contrast with these loopholes. And lastly, Islamic economy and the challenges it faces in eradicating these economic problems.
Economy, which is not as a complement. Currently, Islamic economy throughout the globe is seen as a complement economy system to the conventional system. So what we are trying to propose is we need the Islamic economy as a standalone, which means it acts on its own, which can finally somehow prove to be good to the loopholes that we have identified in this presentation. So to start with, I shall explain the main problems that we have faced in 1930, or the Great Depression as we have all identified with. So in 1930s, the main reason or the main problem that has caused the Great Depression, we can easily notify that spiraling quantum of debt as well as speculation as 2 major reasons for the Great Depression of 1930s. This is something that we really have to agree with. And in 1987, although the popular theory has associated with this 1987 financial crisis with problem in program trading. Okay, there are technical glitches in the trading program. At the same time, certain economists at the moment have also theorized speculation boom as one of the reasons for the economic crisis in 1987. And then in 1997, an economic crisis which is endemic, I would say, for the East Asian region, especially for countries like Malaysia. We have faced this problem, economic recession, that has pushed us to the edge. That we have finally reached to a situation we need external financial aid, like from IMF. This was due to speculation activities by foreign investors, foreign speculators. And recently in 2007, the reason for economic recession, or the Great Recession as we call it, is because of speculation, and also due to spiraling amount of debt.
Regarding the concept of Islamic economy, so we have to understand that Islamic, it must be something that appears in the Quran and Sunnah. So when related to the economy must be depends on the Islamic way. I would try to give you would say that the system is based upon a system that are very clearly prohibited. The 3 major things that are speculation, interest, and Buddha. But the major problem that we face with the Islamic economy is actually when we're facing with the laymen, with the conventional users, in the current market is when they thought Islamic economy is something that I would say with the Islamic finance and Islamic banking. I would not say that it was wrong, but it's not really significant. Transparency, evidence, facilitation, cooperation, integration, and solidarity. All of these kind of principles is actually derived, we can see it on the Quran, we can see it on the Hadith, and so forth. And this should be and should be implemented in our Islamic school. As my friend has said earlier, we should stand alone in the market, but should stay alone in the market based on this kind of principle. So it doesn't mean when we stay alone we're going to not to face such a lot of challenges. We still going to face such a lot of challenges. I'll give you an example. First is about frame of mind. Frame of mind among the economists, frame of mind among the financial users. Regarding the frame of the mind, we should understand that Islamic economy is like is still a stage of a baby. Stage of a baby is still a child. We need to face it with the conventional economy, and many of the users of this type of conventional economy, their own mindset actually look Islam. Maybe I'll give you some example. Is very strict. It's much based upon Quran Sunnah. We cannot targeting profit and such thought. So we here are responsible to make sure that their frame of mind can be changed in such a very professional manner. The second one is actually the market demand. The market demand in economic products, you have to understand that in the conventional economy, they are offering such a lot of products that can targeting high profit. But Islamic economy is quite adverse, but you still can get the profit. But when the market demand versus the Islamic, or known as the Islamic financial institution, they push the advice of the Islamic financial institution to create such a lot of products that seem like they save with the conventional market. I'll give some example, like BBA. By BBA, discount debt trading, by Al-Ihna, discount debt trading, Al-Ijara, Wakala, and etc.
So, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, we hope that future research will focus on more, because currently we have basic concepts on Islamic economy and everything. We are talking about, we are going to go forward with globally, but what is the perfect way to do that and how to influence others to follow suit is really important, and we hope that future research will focus on ways of implementation to counter world economic recession. Hopefully with the implementation of Islamic economy as a standalone system, no more economic recession will prevail. Thank you.
Recently, the Malaysian Securities Commission has announced that they are going to enforce a much stricter Sharia compliance rule to all the companies that are being traded in Bursa Malaysia market, which is to be particular, means in order to get Sharia compliance, all these companies must have debt to asset ratio of less than 33%. So the problem now is these new regulations will not be suitable for all industries. I give you an example, like high industry. There are certain industries like aviation and automotive industries in which we know the nature of this business itself is very high in debt. And plus, the suku issuance to this industry is very limited, so they are obviously going to lose their Sharia compliance status. And to make things worse, there are also some major Islamic investment institutions like Tabung Haji has already started to talk about de-investing some of their stakeholding in some of these companies. So my question is this the right time to enforce this new regulation? And if it's not, then when would be the best time for it? That's all.
Okay. Actually, the stock market itself is questionable. Islamic stock market itself is still questionable. So, if the new regulation is is more Sharia compliance, then why not? To apply right now in the Islamic or in the capital stock market.
Of course,
it's my own opinion.
of course,
Please hold on a second. Yes.
Yeah, I think here the Malaysian market is trying to follow what's being practiced in the Dow Jones and other market, because their concern is the leverage. Because if you allow the market to leverage beyond certain percentage, 33%, then you create a lot of instability, just like the brothers were talking about speculation. So their concern is more towards stabilizing the market, so that the leverage rate should not go beyond 33%.
Any other questions speaking up later?
I'd like to speak, Ms. Humaira, that the challenge is that two issues should be addressed more. That is political will. Another one is how the strategy of marketing. Like conventional banks, they are marketing their products very widely. But we saw that Islamic banks are not marketing in that way. So how to address those two issues, political will and marketing strategy of Islamic products?
First of all, on this political ground, we have a very live example of Malaysia and Bangladesh. Like Bangladesh is not getting the political support for developing the Islamic finance and also not the support from the central bank. So though both the country has started its Islamic banking in 1983 and apparently Bangladesh started its before the Malaysia, a few months before the 1983 with Islamic Bank. But now Malaysia Islamic finance has reached to mature levels, but we are still striving for getting up to there. We don't yet have the Islamic Banking Act or not the Takaful Act, something like that. So political role is very, very important, and one of my factors, the supervisory framework, that includes the political and government intervention. It needs the support and willingness of the government. It is very much required. But also, if the demand is there, then the supply must have to provide it, no matter whether politics is involved, want or not. If the Muslim world or the non-Muslim world has the demand of its own, then the supply must be there. And the second question, the marketing side, as the target group is next. Muslim, non-Muslim, and Muslim but not practicing Muslim. So focusing on the targeting group, the Islamic Financial Institute should develop their marketing strategy, like whether they will target the non-Muslim product and they will come up with any requirement of their own, guiding whatever is comfortable with the any of the mazhab, or they will target only the Muslim. If you target only the Muslim, they will just go for the product. They will not really go for what is benefiting them in detail. So on that we need to work, and as we all know, Islamic finance is a very infant industry, I should say, or very growing level. So we have much things to work in, and like already there are some books on Islamic marketing, and in near future there might be any study also for like marketing, bachelor in marketing and bachelor in marketing strategy, and we can develop all the 4 P's or 5 P's in terms of Islamic guidelines. Thank you.
My question to Brother Chaiku Sofu. I worked for corporates before. I work in a conglomerate, and I involved in fundraising, particularly in Sukuk. My question, the issuance of Sukuk, as you mentioned earlier, it must be a third-party guarantor. But in the real practice, say the company, I work for Sign. So I worked for Sandabi before. So we issue Sukuk as a company, as a Sign Dabi Berhad, and we have a parent company which is Sign Dabi Holding. So Sign Dabi Holding is the guarantor for the issuance of Sukuk. Okay, you have mentioned earlier the third-party guarantor must be an independent body. In your opinion, as what we are doing now, is that correct, or is there any effect on the Islamic regulations? And the other thing is about swap. Swap is conventional, but we are an international business. We have various operations in different countries, and we need to hedge against a very good rate in terms of loan repayment, in terms of all those invoicing repayment. So is there any mechanism that you can suggest to the corporates, particularly in terms of, instead of using swap, is there any other mechanism that you can suggest to us in removing swaps and moving toward Islamic product?
Thank you very much, Rida.
So in Islam, guarantee itself is voluntary. The investment in Islamic perspective should base on profit sharing, meaning to say that the investors should bear any loss that is going to happen to the project or to the investment. Why? Because in Islamic law perspective, investment itself is part of the religion of Islam. Putting your trust that the only one can give profit to this investment is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we call al-kharaj bid-daman. Do you get me? Meaning to say that if you don't take the risk of the investment, you don't have right to get the profit of the investment. This is Islamic way of investment. If, for me, my personal point of view is that this third-party guarantee, your company is going to take fuse on that guarantee or not?
No, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, say we have subsidiaries. If subsidiaries issue sukuk, the holding company will be the third party, will be the guarantor to the subsidiary for the issuance.
Yes, this is an issue. Some fatwa said that if this subsidiary company doesn't have any interest with this, he can guarantee the investment from the can provide voluntary budget for this, but is not from the investment or from the investor themselves. Can provide voluntary budget to guarantee any shortcomings, any loss which is going to happen to the investment. But it should be voluntary. Cannot take this from the investors. Cannot take any benefit from the project itself. My point of view is that this guarantee, if it is voluntary guarantee, it can be permissible in Islamic law. In Islamic law, we have what we call daman ad-dark. Daman ad-dark means that you are going to guarantee the price of the sold item for the buyer or for the seller. But it is voluntary. If anything happens to them, then you are going to guarantee this. Either to return the sold item to the buyer or to return the price to return the sold item to the seller or to return the price to the buyer. This is what we call daman ad-dark, which should be voluntary. According to the question that, is there any suggestion for swap? We have what we call Islamic profit rate swap. I think you know it. What we call Islamic profit rate swap. Yes, we have this, which is one of the Islamic capital market products. You can refer to this. There are so many things they said this policy. But in Islamic law perspective, what we call muqasar, exchange. So it means you are going to change this corporate asset. We are going to exchange our corporate asset to each other. Not price or not something which is not there. We just want to complete the contract on notional asset. You don't have it, I don't have it. Do you get me? We just complete the contract on based on the price, the term we agreed to complete the contract, the term we agreed that we are going to exchange. The price between these two periods, we are going to change the price. No, Islamic perspective is not this. In Islamic law perspective, you have to change the corporate asset. The item itself must be exchanged between me and you. Then we call it, this is contract in Islam. In Islam, the contract, what we call the form, is not different from the substance. The form and substance must be together, must be same. The motive we are using to exchange must be same with our expression, which is going to be based on two things. Really, we want to exchange this, and we want to benefit. You are going to benefit from the item, I'm going to benefit from the price. This is Islamic law perspective for any contract. And the Sharia, the contract are done. And Sharia is the contract are not based on the compounding of the words. The contract are based on the meaning and the purpose of the contract. I think I answer your question.